Good morning, comrades. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Nürburgring. Welcome back to Apex Nürburg. Last week, I uploaded a video where I did a lap together with Formula 1 driver Robert Kubica in the BMW M4, which is right behind me right now. And it is by now the most successful video I've ever published. Over 2.5 million views by now. So thank you everyone for all the comments, all the shares, all the likes. It's been amazing, great for the channel. I hope you enjoyed the content as well. So now today is going to be a follow-up video. We're going to show you what this car actually is, to show you the setup of the car, because it's not just a stock car that you can rent for the Nürburgring. We're going to show you, most importantly, what has Robert done to the car. What do 36 laps of the Nürburgring Nordschleife, 756 kilometers, do to a car when it's being driven to its limit? But first, I'm going to start with a couple of misconceptions that were following the video, a couple of comments that people made, so I want to get into that. So first of all, people were saying like, oh Misha, you have never been this quiet before, you were like scared shitless. Well, let me tell you that it was a very, very comfortable ride. As a matter of fact, you can also see at the beginning of the video, I'm taking the race navigator off, the telemetry system, which is here. So I was holding it between my legs throughout the whole lap and then filming with my both hands with the GoPro, just like that. Now you would probably ask, why would you take RN off, which is like, it's a great telemetry system, but 720p camera quality, I'm sorry, we're not in 1998 anymore. So yeah, RN, please make something like more, yeah, for today's standards of future. But anyway, enough bashing. Also quickly about the camera that I'm using, because it's a recurring question like, hey, do you use gimbal? Because in the past I used to use gimbals, but no. Nowadays it's just simple GoPro 8 on a suction cup, because that allows me to twist the arms easier and like to give you these action shots. So being in this position, it was still very comfortable, and the reason why I'm quiet is because there are two types of content. A, which is focused on driving, where you want to show the whole driving in its glory, and B, where the driving is just moderate and you have to like cheer the video up with talking. And there are also examples of videos where we're both fast and talking. For example, me doing the blindfolded lap last year, we still did 7 minutes 01. And you're probably going to say like, well, you were blindfolded, you weren't scared. Well, anyhow, it was a very comfortable ride. Second of all, people say like, you never gone this fast before. Big lies, because there are plenty of other examples on my channel, multiple of them, just to name a few. Even back in 2016, we did laps with Klaus, the ex-owner of XX31, which was like close to 7 minutes. We did close to we did 7:06 or something recently with the Senna. We did plenty of more laps. And the lap at Robert was 7:24, I believe. It appears a bit shorter on the video itself because we cut out the bright side segment. But anyhow, plenty of fast laps. I even drove this fast myself in races with slower cars, etc. Anyhow, so there is that. Enough about that. And finally, number 3 is people have been saying like, you had to go with him as an instructor, and it made you even quiet as an instructor because you were so impressed. No, some websites said that it was mandatory. No, what we said in the video is that he went to another rental company first. There it was mandatory to go as with the instructor, and that's why he went somewhere else. In our case, we said like, oh, okay, well, you're Robert Kubica, here's the car, here you go, have fun. And after, I believe, 6 laps or something, he came back and said like, hey, can you give me some pointers? So Louis, one of our instructors, went out with him and showed him like, okay, these 3 corners, you would take it like that, and it was fine. And I went out with him on his 16th lap, I believe, only for the sake of the video. Now, having all said that, I want to share one story though with you where I was scared shitless as an instructor on an actually very slow lap. Because one day someone came here and said like, hey, I would like to give my dad a birthday gift and let him experience the Nürburgring Nordschleife, is something that he always wanted to. Okay, great. Went in the BMW E46, which is a manual transmission car because it needed to be manual as a real sports car. And it was one of the slowest laps. Also, the gentleman did not drive the manual for the last 20 years probably, so it was a great idea on the busiest Sunday afternoon that you can imagine, with 400 cars, trains of GT3 RSs, the M3s passing by, flying by. And you just say, stay right, stay right, stay right, traffic behind you, stay right. And that was very scary. And if you're thinking like, okay, son and dad, something like, okay, son was 18 and dad was 40. No, dad was 87 years old. Yes, so that was definitely the scariest lap. So I would go any day with Robert Kubica on a fast lap than with someone like this caliber. That's one of my scariest experiences. So anyhow, having said all that, let's now get into the car. It's already on the lift. George is there waiting for us, and let's show us first what the mods have been done to a car, and after that see what we had to replace after 36 laps with Robert Kubica. Alright, so first of all, let us show you what we have done to the car to make it more Nürburgring compliant, so to say. We're going to start with the most obvious, the engine, and it is completely stuck. 431 horsepower is definitely enough for the Nürburgring Nordschleife, as proven by Robert, as proven by many others. So this is fully stuck. Regarding suspension, we see here JRZ RS Pro 3-way adjustable suspension, which we can also see here. It's running on KW springs, brake-wise, APP Advanced Performance Parts brake discs, together with Pagid RSL 29 pads. The calipers are stock because on the F80 system, the calipers are okay. Everything before F80 you had to replace because it's just like it doesn't work. Am I right, more or less? Yeah. Yep. Okay. Moving on to the interior, we have Recaro pole position seats together with Schrott racing harnesses, which is basically a very common, so to say, combination for German track use because you can put it in the papers, it's street legal, and you still have enough of support, and it's great. Vischers half cage in the back. Alcantara steering wheel, and that's pretty much it regarding the interior mods. Nothing much more to be done. Well, one very, very important mod regarding interior, and that's the weight. We've taken out, we haven't measured the car, but like from before and after, but it must have been close to 200 kilos of weight, because M4 is traditionally, well, not traditionally, as of recent, it's like also a very luxury car with lots of insulation material, all the unnecessary weight, so to say. So the best mod you can do to an M4, take everything out, and it will be great, so much better. Furthermore, on the back, again, we're running the same RSL 29 pads, stock brake discs, stock calipers. Also again the suspension JRZ RS Pro 3-way adjustable and KW springs, and in addition Team Shermer kinematic, what is it, tow bar you said? Yep. Yeah, tow bar on the rear, so not a full kit on the front and rear, just that. Important question is regarding wheels and tires. So currently, as of now, the car sits on the stock wheels with Michelin PS4S tires because it's raining outside, and this is our rain setup. Very good tire PS4S that we also run on our taxis, such as the 620R, GT3 RS, and M3 taxi. But the car with the Kubica lap was running ProTrack wheels together with 265?
265 front, 295 rear.
265 front, 295 rear, Nankang Air 1 slick tire that we also run on all our cars for the dry conditions, such as the M4 VLAN race car and anything that you can possibly think of. So these were the tires. Did I miss anything regarding the mods, George? So we have, of course, the wing, which is the M4 GTS wing. And I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so again, most importantly, the engine is stock. It's mostly the suspension, tires, and weight, and some other upgrades. Exhaust also stock. And now, I guess, let's proceed to the most interesting part. What was the aftermath of 36 laps by Formula 1 driver?
So, well, we'll start with the most obvious, because they're off already, because we've changed them. Mm-hmm. So the wheel bearings, you can see from where the grease is coming out, this is like the telltale sign that a wheel bearing is starting to fail, or with the F80s and that era. Mm-hmm. So obviously you can see the grease coming out. The fronts you can't see from the back, but you can see from here where it's starting to spit the grease out. Now when these are on the car with a little bit of load on, you could hear them start grumbling. You can feel it more than hear it now. Mm-hmm. You can feel like where the bearing's starting to break down. But yeah, that was the main thing that stood out from everything. It's just where the car's being pushed hard. Mm-hmm. That's literally it. Yeah. When you're loading the car up in the corners, especially when you're running a lower offset wheel with wheel spacers, it really puts a lot of strain on the bearings, so that's why they fail pretty quickly. Obviously the heat as well.
Usual replacement time of a bearing, you would say?
It really depends on the car, the driver, and all this kind of thing. The M3 taxi, if we use that as a benchmark, we're replacing them probably every 200 to 300 laps, mm-hmm. I would guess, around that mark. So maybe less, depending. it gets put for its paces, so there's no doubt why they get replaced so quickly. On this car, it really, like I say, it really depends, because you could have a guy rent it for 50 laps and drive. Let's use like a time as a benchmark. Let's say a 10-minute lap every time. Yeah. And they'll be fine.
It'll be fine, but someone can.
But then someone could come in and start running 7-minute flat laps and
hitting every curb imaginable.
Hitting every curb imaginable, and then that's it. Every wheel bearing is destroyed within like 50 laps. So it really does depend. It really does depend.
Okay, well, that's regarding the wheel bearings. Another important thing, a lot of people have asked, because when we mentioned we have to rebuild the car as a joke, but also not as a joke because a lot of components had to be replaced. People have asked about the engine, because there's the S65, right?
S55, yeah.
S55, sorry, yeah, S65 is the previous M3 E46 natural aspirated. This is the fully stock engine ever since. Currently the car has what now, close to 70,000 kilometers?
Oof.
We can actually have a look.
Let's check.
And this is the fully stock engine, never done anything to it. We got the car, I believe, with 50,000 kilometers.
81,827.
81. So out of 81, 30,000 kilometers have been done on the track, always, non-stop. And it's still the stock engine. Now, important thing that I want to mention is that, again, we're running M3 taxi, F80 M3 as a taxi. We remapped the car, and the turbos blew up after...
I'm not sure, this is before I came, but I think they were gone around 40k.
Yeah, 40,000 kilometers, yeah. So again, it can go well, it can go wrong, but at this point it's totally okay regarding the engine. Now moving on to other consumables, maybe let's talk about the brakes. Maybe we can put the car a bit higher on the lift. All right, so RSL 29 pads. Tell us about the pads. Are these the exact pads that were running ever since, since Robert drove the car?
So before he drove the car, I made sure that the pads were replaced, because obviously we know the car's going to be driven hard. So we put a fresh set of RSL 29s in all round. Obviously they were brand new, so I've got a brand new set that you can sort of use as a comparison to how quickly they've worn. So these are a brand new pad. That's how much.
Yeah, let's try to hold them against the disc so we can see the comparison.
You can kind of see.
Maybe from the top would be maybe.
So you can see that there's...
Probably half? Or 1/3?
Yeah, I would say roughly about that. Yeah. So it gives you an idea of how much they've worn down.
What's the pad life usually on that?
Again, depends on driver, depends on assists. If the car's running with assists on, it really does depend. But we usually don't see too much brake wear in this. We usually run the PFC pad, which we went over to on the stock discs. I found that it was wearing better, so it was wearing for longer. But then now obviously we've gone back over to the RSL 29 because the pedal feel is a little bit better on these discs especially. But the wear, like I say, it depends. Okay,
it depends. A very fun fact for many people who would not imagine it, who are not unfamiliar with track driving. The rear pads, in case of Robert, have done a lot better than anyone who would be driving the car inexperiencedly. Because usually you would drive with traction control on, and thereby what the car does, it brakes the rear wheels by brakes to making sure that the car will not spin or the rear brake out. But when you drive with full system off, of course, the rear brakes don't work as much. So a stock driver can probably destroy a set of rear pads if it's just constantly in traction control, doesn't know what he's doing.
To be honest, even the fronts.
Even the fronts, yeah, of course.
We have a set of fronts that are off the car that we've changed the calipers from where the car has been run just on MDM mode. So obviously MDM, it gives you a little bit of breakaway, so you feel a little bit more freedom with the car, but essentially it's still traction control and it's still biting the brakes all the time and stopping you from rotating the car. Obviously that generates a lot of heat. Yep. So you've got especially because it's obviously a clockwise circuit, the left side, the front left, builds up a lot of heat very quickly. So you get all four brakes are just getting super hot, always constantly biting, and it wears the pad down really fast. Yeah. You could probably, if Robert drove the laps with MDM on, he would have obviously struggled, but if he did and pushed that hard, I would have said these pads would have gone to metal through his laps. Yeah, for sure. Easily.
Now, and final thing, we can also see a very new brand bearing, that's cool. Finally, of course, the tires, very important consumable. What about the tires, George? How many laps has he done, or what's the result of this?
So these tires are put on fresh halfway through his laps.
So basically around 20th
Yeah,
lap.
Roughly around that. You can see where it's starting to wear on this shoulder where the tread is. this is normal for AR1s. This always happens. Obviously, you can see where it's really blue here. This section, so it's got super hot where it's been leaning on the sidewall. So yeah, these tyres have done pretty well, to be honest. They've done a lot better than I thought they would. But the set previous, I think they'd done roughly about 20 laps. The set previous. Yeah. And obviously halfway point when we changed over to these, they were done. They were finished. I think that even the front was starting to delaminate on the outer edge. So here we're starting to get a little bit of delam, and on the inside edge obviously was worn because obviously the camber we run, a lot of negative camber.
Yeah. Of course, yeah. So 20 laps for us. Usually we would aim towards 80 to 100 laps, I believe. With like
normal, like the M3 taxi is different. We'd get less laps out of that
because it's a heavier
because
car.
of the weight in the car and how it's driven. Obviously, Tim's driving pinned every lap. So yeah, but yeah, these normally we would see. I would probably say average about 50 laps to a set of AR1s on this. Average. Yeah, I would say that's about right.
Yeah. So again, had to do a lot also with the driving style, like really pushing the car, and there is nothing wrong with that. It's the fact that actually Robert said like, yeah, I know the track roughly from the simulator, but I don't know it exactly. So he was just like applying his rally driving style and just pushing it and just like, oh, I'm send it. And it was a very spectacular drive. I enjoyed it a lot. And having said that, so he came in here, paid full, which is 2,250 euros for 12 laps, including lap ticket and fuel, and the car times 3, that makes it almost close to 7,000. Now, thinking of everything that we had to replace afterwards, it didn't make us any money. You're gonna say like, of course, parts cost less, but you have to take the car into account, the purchase of the car, the insurance, George's wages, of course, after all as well. So at the end of the day, it was like a very big loss. Well, on the upside, we have, of course, the very big marketing gain from that. So that's nothing to complain. And in the end, all these prices are based on like a median. When we're gonna have a driver like Robert coming in and sending the car, we're not gonna complain because tomorrow or the following day, we're gonna have a driver coming in and doing 20-minute laps and cruising around and like doing 20 laps on the tank of fuel. Figuratively speaking. So it is something in between. So it's just like, just like a small transparency business type of thing that we like to share with you guys. Now, final thing, which was actually pretty funny, not funny, well, yeah, funny, so to say. You said it's driven the car so hard that, yeah, the part of the diffuser is molten.
Well, you can see how out of shape it's gone here. Yeah. And if I unclip it, because I've not put cable ties through yet, which you're not supposed to, because it's not supposed to come unclipped, but halfway around, this was kind of like hanging off. So it's supposed to, there we go. This was like melted to this position. It had got that hot, it had melted to this position, so obviously it had completely, obviously I've moved it around a little bit now, I've moved it back. I need to fix it there, but yeah, it's it got warm.
It got warm. Good driving. So yeah, overall, we're not like I said, those things are just typical things that happen when you run the car at the Nürburgring, and you can also come and take this car out on the ring, or you can take a passenger lap with any of our other cars. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I think we covered pretty much everything regarding the mods, regarding replacements. Did you say that you're going to replace something else as well?
Obviously, we've done a full service, so DCT oil, the engine oil service, full service, after it's been driven that hard. Obviously oil gets hot, loses its viscosity, loses all its properties through the heat, and then so we changed all the oils and stuff as well. What else was there? I think that was it.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. So
I think that was it.
Overall, not too bad, not great, not terrible, as they would say.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we're looking forward to do more laps with this car. Also looking forward to maybe we can have a benchmark. Maybe another Formula 1 driver is going to come by and show us what. Yeah.
There was one more thing.
Oh, one more thing.
There was one more thing. So I can take it up and show you. It's easier. Yes. The inner CV joint on the right side, where it gets so warm, the grease expands and causes a leak of fluid, basically. Okay. So the CV grease leaks out the side of the gator. Where are we? Up here. So this clip here, this is the one here. It was leaking out. You could probably see. Yeah,
you can see some leak on the.
You can see some remnants. I haven't cleaned it all off properly. So yeah, obviously the grease heats up so much it expands and then causes a leak. Normally, how you cure that, I'm not sure if we've got it on this car, if it's on the taxi. It's on the taxi, so it's easy to show from this angle. So where you have the gator here, usually you take the clip off, and lift the gator, and you'll put like a small roll pin or like a clip or something in there, and then put the clip back on, tighten it up. So you've got a small gap there for air to escape, so it doesn't swell up and it doesn't leak and it doesn't cause any gator damage. Yep. Which is what we have on the M3 Taxi, and it's been mint so far.
Cool.
So
well,
it works.
Cool. Well, thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As mentioned, we're going to try to make an outro for the third time. One more thing I want to say, I'm very proud of it. George, can you show me your phone, please?
My phone? Wait,
yes, just the date.
Let me get rid of notifications.
Just today's date.
Today's date?
Yeah.
Oh wait, there's still
notifications.
Oh,
notifications.
Yeah,
all the Tinder stuff.
No, it's not. No, okay. Let me, wait, hold on. That one.
10 hours later.
One. Yeah, a few moments later. There we go.
There we go. The video has been shot and edited and posted today. So thumbs up, like, subscribe, share, and see you at the Nürburgring. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. No food shot because we spent all the money on rebuilding the car.